and welcome to the first round of the Scottish Sports and Saloons and Scottish Classic Sports and Saloons Championship. Behind me in the holding bay we have a healthy grid. These are some of the fastest and most powerful cars that will be racing here today. I'm here with last year's champion Gary Watson. Gary, starting off where you finished up last year.
Yeah, good result in qualifying. I was a bit surprised to be here. I thought Mr. White would be up front, but I think he's got one or two problems, so yeah, pleased to be here.
Good stuff, and we're looking for some close action here. The 33 car behind you, he's going to push you all the way.
Yeah, Cameron's found some speed from last year, so yeah, it should be interesting.
Weather conditions today, dry. You had a dry qualifying, you've got the slicks on, but looking around, what do you reckon?
Well, I think if we get the first one over in the dry, I'm quite happy with that. We'll see what happens this afternoon.
One dry race would do you.
One dry race would be.
Good stuff, good luck, we're looking forward to it.
Gary Watson, the reigning champion, starts on pole position, a time of 52.770. Alongside him, Cameron Purdy in another Westfield. Then it's Stuart White and Philip Duncan, row 2. Fiona Kindness and Alex Bruce on row 3. Fourth row, Andrew Morrison and Mario Cara. Then it's Mark Robson and Joe Shuttleton. Robert Drummond, 11th, and Kevin Robson in 12th. 13th on the grid, Mark Dawson. Then it's Alistair McGowan, and the grid completed by John Grant. There's Cameron Purdy in the 2.3 litre Westfield alongside the reigning champion, running in Class A2. Class structure pretty much the same as last year. One change which concerns Class B, which is now split into B1 and B2, and we'll talk about that once the race gets underway. But other than that, it's pretty much the same as last year. Now what we'll see over the course of the season is lots of people bringing cars out at varying times in the season, but it's a very eclectic mix of machines that we have here, and let's see whether Gary Watson can get his title defence underway with another win. Stuart White in the Escort Cosworth four-wheel drive, of course, he's down behind them. There's the 5-second board. 14 cars on the grid. We've lost Mario Cara in the Mitsubishi Evo, which is a shame. Lights on. It's a long wait. Off they go. Great start by Gary Watson, the reigning champion. Gets away real well, and the whole field away well. Look at Fiona Kindness in the Nissan Skyline, so she'll be looking to make her mark. And a cracking start by Stuart White in the Ford Escort Cosworth, up into second position ahead of Cameron Purdy. Then it's the blue Westfield of Philip Duncan in fourth place. Fiona Kindness next. Then it's Alex Bruce in the blue Mitsubishi Evo. But on lap 1, on dry conditions here, looking good for Gary Watson in the two-wheel drive Class A2. Class A, I remind you, run on slick racing tyres. The A1 class for four-wheel drive cars, that's the class being contested by Stuart White in the Escort Cosworth, who looks down the inside already on lap 1. So he's no hanging about at all for Stuart White, who really wants to get the job underway and try and get in front of the reigning champion. So one lap done. These are probably the quickest cars that you see around the Knockhill circuit, and it's Gary Watson that leads from Stuart White. Up across the line they go. Fiona Kindness goes through in the Skyline. Then it's the Seat Cupra of Andrew Morrison. Mark Robson goes through as well. A couple of cars at the back of the field. We've got the VW Corrado of Mark Dawson you saw go through, and there he is, just going through ahead of Alistair McGowan, the lone Class C runner, the 1600cc Citroën AX. Now Mark Dawson's car is running in Class B1, which is probably a good time to explain the difference in what was last year just simply Class B, cars over 1600cc running on treaded tyres. This year we got the two classes, B1 Sports and Saloons over 1600cc's, including turbos, supercharged cars and four-wheel drive cars, and Class B2 Caterhams and kit cars over 1400cc's, and bike-engined kit cars as well, running again on treaded tyres. We look at Fiona Kindness, who is a speed event driver normally, the solicitor, who has done Time Attack over recent years and has done it here at Knockhill, so will be familiar with the circuit. Time Attack, the championship where lots of supercars go out and try and set the best lap over the course of a weekend. Some superb machinery is on display at those events, and great to see Fiona making the move into circuit racing proper as we go back to the race lead dispute between Stuart White and Gary Watson. Massive flame out from White, who looks round the outside. Look at the respect between these two. Very good indeed. Now, a lesser driver would have forced the Escort off onto the gravel there, but that's not the case with the reigning champion. A class act is Gary Watson, and he loses the overall lead, but he's still in the lead of Class A2. But A1 in first position now is Stuart White in the Escort Cosworth 2-litre turbo. There's the view of the car in front. Gary Watson, a little bit of a wide moment there from the Escort Cosworth. Of course, you get a great idea of the different handling characteristics of these two cars. Watson working hard. He will take some overall wins, I feel sure, even if the Escort gets away from him today over the course of the season. Now, Gary's going to be looking in his mirror because Cameron Purdy is chasing him. Philip Duncan is chasing him in Class A2 as well. Now, in terms of entries this weekend, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A1s and 1, 2, 3, 4 A2s. And the points are slightly less. If there's less than 4 starters in the class, then the points are halved. So we're looking really probably for the overall champion to come from A1 and A2 classes, which are well supported. But there is the option for the more standard classes, the road tyre classes, to come in and get involved. Class B1 and B2. We've got a few B runners. We've got Mark Robson in the Subaru Impreza running in B1. Mark Dawson in the Corrado's B1, as we mentioned earlier on. Kevin Robson in the Caterham is running in B2. So the race continues. The leader already starting to get into back marker traffic and down past Alistair McGowan in the Citroen AX. Lone Class C runner is Alistair at the moment. There's also a class for the Mazda MX5s, but none of those have joined us at the moment. The Mazda Championship, I think, will be doing a round with us later on in the season here at Knockhill, bringing up vast numbers of Mazdas to haul their way around the circuit. But good to see Alistair McGowan, and he'll be welcoming some competition later in the season for sure. As past the Corrado of Mark Dawson goes Gary Watson. So Dawson a lap down. He's running in Class B1. Lifts the wheel over the curbs, and Stuart White is on his way, heading towards the closing stages of this one here, the opening race of the Scottish Saloon and Sports Car Championship. The drivers racing for the King Hussein Trophy and the John Nicholson Trophy, which is awarded to the top sports car. Second place in the championship last year, Philip Duncan, who of course is currently down in 4th place. And that was the Adam Wiley Trophy. Second place in the H.G. Robinson Trophy going to the third man, Paul Neville, who we hope to see later on in the season. But up across the grid lines we go with the reigning champion, and it doesn't look like it's going to be an overall winning start to it, because on the last lap Stuart White it is that had to fight hard to take the lead in the early stages ahead of Gary Watson, who's going to take a class win. But he closes up as they go down to Scotsman Corner. So Gary Watson putting the pressure on the last lap. Less than a mile to go now. Out of the chicane they go, through John R. Weir, down towards our camera here at Clark Corner. And Gary Watson, now if he can get past on the way into the hairpin, he'll need to take a very defensive line on the way out. But surely the power of the 2-litre turbo and the 4-wheel drive of Stuart White, if there is a challenge, which in fact there isn't, so all the speculation comes to naught. So it's going to be a race win for Stuart White in the 2-litre turbo Ford Escort Cosworth. There is the checkered flag. Class win for Gary Watson. He takes second overall. Third position is going to be Cameron Purdy. Stuart White the winner from Gary Watson, Cameron Purdy in 3rd place from Philip Duncan in 4th, then Andrew Morrison 5th from Fiona Kindness in 6th place. Mark Robson wins Class B1, then it's John Grant, Joe Shuttleton in 9th place, the top 10 rounded off by Mark Dawson, and Alistair McGowan winning Class C in the AX in 11th.
I'm here with the winner of the Scottish Sport and Saloons, the White Escort Cosworth of Stuart White. I didn't see that coming. I interviewed the top 2 on the grid. I was convinced it was going to be one of them, and then you came from nowhere.
No, I knew I had problems. I had problems in qualifying, so I knew I had the pace to beat them, but I've still not fixed my problem. So
it's quite a strange race to watch, because it looks to me as if you've got the advantage in a straight line, and yet the open wheel cars, the Caterhams, have got the advantage through the corners. So it's kind of like a yo-yo effect.
Yeah, it is a wee bit. I mean, what power I'm running there, there's not much in the straight between the two of them, so it is hard work trying to get obviously heavier car around the corners and I'm braking. But it's a good race, really good fun.
Are we going to see you here for the full season?
Yeah, hopefully I'll be here for the full season, yeah.
Good stuff. Someone needs to stop Gary Watson, he's dominant.
Well, I should be able to do it. Once I get it running right, then we'll challenge him.
Well done.
Right, thanks.
I'm here with the runner-up, the number 1 car of Gary Watson, pole position. I would have put any money on you to win that, but Stuart White took us all by surprise, didn't he?
Yeah, I was kind of expecting him to be quick, but I wasn't expecting him to be that quick because we knew he had 1 or 2 problems with the car in qualifying. But all in all, it's still a good result. It's a class win, so yeah, good start to the season.
Overall, for the championship, is there anything you can do now? He showed you what he's got. Obviously, you're the dominant force here. You're going to have to find something else now.
Yeah, well, I can't say too much. I know he's got more. He's not running at quite full strength, so yeah, that's to be expected. It's a quick car.
Good stuff. Well done, and hopefully we'll see a closer battle in race 2.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope it stays dry. Thank you.
3rd place in the Scottish Sports and Saloons, Cameron Purdy. Cameron, it didn't quite go to plan. We were talking about challenging for the win. Stuart White got past you and they were gone.
Yeah, he got past me before the first corner. Stuart's got plenty of power in the 4-wheel drive. It was a big advantage off the start. There was no way to stop him really, so he was gone. And I was just hoping to pick up some of the pieces. I thought these two would come together sometime. And I thought, I'll be there in 3rd and I'll pick up whatever. And I noticed there was some gravel on the track down at the hairpin. I thought, oh, good.
I've done that before when you're looking for yellow flags.
Yeah, but unfortunately, both of them were going up the street at the time, so that was that. So Stuart did well. Stuart did very well.
Good luck for race number 2.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to another episode of Racing No Filter. Joining me in sunny California, Bill Wood, and down in sunny Florida, Peter Keene.
We're going to take a look at some of the products HPD has created for the 2012 Honda Civic, and specifically we're going to show you how to install an adjustable sway bar.
Until then, folks out there, you take care.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Cars coming into line for race 2 of the 2012 Scottish Saloon and Sports Car Championship season. And pole position, race 1 winner Stuart White with Gary Watson alongside. Cameron Purdy is 3rd, then Philip Duncan, Andrew Morrison and Fiona Kindness on row 3. 4th row, Mark Robson and John Grant. Then it's Joe Shuttleton and Mark Dawson. Alistair McGowan lines up 11th. Alongside him is Robert Drummond. Then it's Kevin Robson, Alex Bruce in position 14. And at the back of the grid, Mario O'Cara. Well, being told non-starts for Robert Drummond, Kevin Robson and Mario O'Cara, which is disappointing. It gives us 12 cars on the grid remaining, split amongst the classes. And conditions a little bit slippery out there, which should favour the four-wheel drive cars on their racing tyres and make things a bit of a handful for Gary Watson. He'll be seeing if he can take another class win. Remember the men that are challenging him in class, the other Westfields of Cameron Purdy, who took 3rd in the first race, and Philip Duncan in the blue Westfield, who is there as well. No more time to speculate about the result because we're underway and racing 10 laps here at Knockhill. Who gets away well? It's a great start from Stuart White, who this time gets away the lead. There's Fiona Kindness chasing Cameron Purdy down in Duffer's Dip for the first time. That Nissan Skyline, very spectacular car. Alex Bruce is behind her, and then Andrew Morrison in the Seat Cupra. Not the quickest of starts from Andrew, but he's sorting himself out now and getting that extra Seat Cupra Cup car around. That's a great bit of variety. It's a lovely bit of kit, as so too is this one, the Ford Escort Cosworth. You heard Stuart saying that he had problems in race 1. He's not got this car fully sorted yet, but if he can. Now, where's Cameron Purdy? Cameron Purdy, let's have a look through the spray, because Philip Duncan is challenging for the class lead. Philip Duncan looking for 2nd position and the lead in Class A1 as they come down into the hairpin. Splash through the puddle on the inside. And Philip Duncan goes through into the lead of A1, and this is not running the way Gary Watson wants it. There's Cameron Purdy, 4th position, a pair of yellow cars dicing it out at the moment for 4th. Purdy in his car powers his way ahead of Andrew Morrison, who's gone great guns. A great first lap for Morrison, up into 5th position and challenging for 4th place with Cameron Purdy. But Philip Duncan, the man who finished 2nd in the championship last year to the man who won it last year, who's behind him, Gary Watson behind him, so he's got the upper hand at the moment as Philip Duncan. Gary Watson down in 3rd place. And then we look back and a scrap going on between Morrison and Cameron Purdy. Now, of course, the thing about wet weather is that you can get water in the electrics, might be causing problems for some of the drivers. Although, of course, to be fair to them, they'll be used to it up here. Although we had a predominantly dry season in 2011. Glorious season, in actual fact, in terms of racing conditions. And disappointing, well, not too disappointing, dryish race 1, wasn't it? It was a dry race 1, a little bit wet here in race 2. And look at that, Morrison is up into 4th place, and Fiona Kindness just trying to go through into 5th. So side by side with Cameron Purdy, who squeezes across. There's still room, I think, for Fiona to make the move. She thinks better off that for the moment. Alex Bruce is down behind her as well, the man from Falkirk. Down to Scotsman Corner, Andrew Morrison in the Cupra 2-litre turbo car in A2. A2 the strongest in this race in terms of starters, because we've got Philip Duncan, Gary Watson, Cameron Purdy and Andrew Morrison all in that class. And Fiona Kindness trying to see if she can get past. Alex Bruce running in A1 as well. So those two dicing for overall and class position, the Nissan Skyline and the Mitsubishi Evo. And Fiona having a good look here at Cameron Purdy, and she's on the outside line as they come around Hislop's. Surely he's going to have the line down into the hairpin. We heard the drivers talking about the difference between sports car and the bigger saloon handling characteristics, but Fiona Kindness gets through. The question now is whether Cameron Purdy has maybe got the line or the grunt to go up the hill. I think Fiona Kindness, that was a good move. So Fiona Kindness, a great racing manoeuvre, flame out from the Skyline, but here comes Cameron. He's going to have another go down as they come into Duffus Dip. Fiona, I think, is going to hang on to 5th position at the moment in that 55 car, and a little way away from Andrew Morrison, who's getting his head down in the Cupra, still in 4th place. Stuart White still out front. Now Alex Bruce coming into the mix, car number 20. Great livery on that car. Then down behind Alex we've got John Grant. Car number 52 was an addition to the qualifying times, John. Started off 15th on the grid on the first race, so he worked his way through the field to come 8th in the first race, which was a good result for him. And as you can see, he's busy chasing Alex Bruce at the moment. Fiona Kindness getting away from Cameron Purdy. So Cameron now coming under a bit of pressure from Alex, but not too bad at the moment. Let's see whether Alex can get that power down. The A1 Racing tyres, so 4-wheel drive against 2-wheel drive up the hill. No, he's quite got it. So Cameron Purdy hangs on to 6th position for the moment, and down Duffus Dip he goes. Fastest man on track, unsurprisingly, the race leader Stuart White. He's starting to pull out a lead over Philip Duncan, still there at the moment, from Gary Watson in 2nd position. Alistair McGowan will pick up some starting points, of course, for Class C. Class B1, we've got 2 cars. We've got Mark Robson, who is in the green car. You can just see at the back of shot, and at the moment Mark Robson is leading the class in terms of Class B1, and it was Mark that took the class win in race 1 from Mark Dawson in the VW Corrado. It looks like the way that they're going to finish that way in this race once again, as Alex Bruce is still trying to think about how he can best deal with Cameron Purdy. Tighter line there, that might compromise his exit speed a wee bit. Let's see whether he can get the run going up the straight. Probably not as bothered about the spray as the car in front would be. That was behind, being open. So Westfield at the moment maintains 6th position. Cameron Purdy in Class A2, and at the moment 4th in A2, which is not going to be a massive points haul for him, but it's going to be about consistency. These cars enjoying their race around Knockhill Circuit. Best time, still these wet conditions. Stuart White lapping under a minute. Philip Duncan is doing so as well. White with a 58 59.4. Philip Duncan with a 59.036. All the other cars over the minute. So slowest man on the circuit, which is currently Mark Dawson. No, I beg your pardon, Alistair McGowan, isn't it? Would be the Class C car, or 69.907. So the maximum I think we're going to see anybody lapped is probably once over the course of the 10 laps, as Alex Bruce now looks to the outside line. Let's see whether he can get the power down. The acceleration of the Westfield works really well though, and up the hill Cameron Purdy really proving to be a very, very difficult man to pass, and look how much of a gap he's pulled out. So both of these cars on racing tyres, but Cameron Purdy so much quicker out of the hairpin. Comes through John R. Weir, and at the moment the challenge from Alex Bruce for 6th position is pretty much seen off. Those two close. We just look back, it's John Grant in the blue, another blue Evo down behind in 7th position. He's beg your pardon, 8th position, car number 52, and we saw him go through shot. There he is, nearest to these two at the moment. Stuart White building his lead over Philip Duncan, and Gary Watson dropping away, which is very, very uncharacteristic for the reigning champion. But if he can get a second in class, that might be what he deems as a bad day. Here's the view from Philip Duncan there. So 2nd position, leading Class A2, the two-wheel drive cars on racing tyres, and clear circuit for him, which in these conditions is probably ideal. You can see a little bit of a dry racing line beginning to appear as he goes down Duffers Dip. Over in the distance, Stuart White in the white Ford Escort Cosworth, so it's been a bit of a bonus for Philip Duncan. Turns in very neatly. Best lap time for him, as we said, 59.036, so good smooth style, and so too it is from this man as well. Stuart White's on his last lap, and it looks like it's going to be a double. Didn't grab pole position, that went the way of Gary Watson after Stuart had problems in qualifying, but he's put those problems well behind him in the race. He's been cutting his way through the rain, through the back marker traffic as well, and that's Cameron Purdy that he's coming up to lap. So Cameron Purdy may well be lapped before the end of this race. So Stuart White showing great, and Cameron Purdy clearly has some sort of mechanical problem, but he's nursing the car home, and he's going to get the points. He's going to get some points for finishing in class, but it's Stuart White who leads the race, leads Class A1. Class A2 still led by Philip Duncan, the man we went on board with. Up across the line they go. And there's Cameron Purdy, pulls off onto the inside. Disappointment for Purdy, but a win number 2 for Stuart White. 2 out of 2 for him. Now Gary Watson is in 3rd place, but here comes Philip Duncan to take 2nd. Duncan 2nd, Watson in 3rd. Stuart White wins the race overall and Class A1. Philip Duncan winning Class A2 2nd from Gary Watson. Then it's Andrew Morrison, Fiona Kindness in 5th place, and Alex Bruce in 6th. 7th goes to John Grant. Mark Robson wins Class B1. Then it's Joe Shuttleton. Cameron Purdy in 10th place. Alistair McGowan 11th. And Mark Dawson in 12th.
Second race for the Sports and Saloons, and from my point of view it was an obvious winner even before the race had started. When the rain came down, you've got the wets on it. It was yours to lose.
You're probably right. Yeah, it was mine to lose. As soon as I seen it, well, we didn't know how wet it was going to be until we were out in the first lap there, and it was quite slippery and wet. So I thought, it's a good chance here.
Do you think the fact that you beat Gary Watson in race 1 inspired his mad decision to turn up with slicks on his car there, claiming that he thought it would be a bit drier than it was?
I don't know. I think he was just wishing it was going to dry out, but no chance it was. So that was still well driven by him to drive out in the slicks. But
Absolutely, I don't fancy that at all. Well done for today. Good points haul and leading the championship.
Well, exactly. That's what you're here to do, just get some points for the class and try and win the championship. So it's worked out. The car's just not 100% there yet, but hopefully over the season we can get it there and keep winning.
Well done.
Thanks for that.